is king! I love you guys. Yes, yes, that is the energy.
Candace Owens got on stage yet again and absolutely demolished the Daily Wire, Ben Shapiro, and the rest of the neocons out there that were trying to cancel Candace Owens for simply saying Christ is king and that we should actually be America first and not just say it and it mean absolutely nothing like a lot of these media outlets like to do, such as the Daily Wire. They love to say that they're America first and they do absolutely nothing that proves that they're America first at all. Anyway, Candace Owens got on stage and destroyed these people. And the audience, like I said, absolutely loved it. Once again, let's check out this clip here of Candace Owens getting on stage and destroying all of the neocons like Ben Shapiro and the Daily Wire out there. Let's check this out.
Up, America! Christ is king! I love you guys. Yes, yes, that is the energy. You know what? One thing
You think Ben Shapiro would get that same response if he got on stage in front of a bunch of people right now? Like, Candace Owens takes the stage of this TPUSA event, and everybody in the crowd's chanting Christ is king. Everybody's cheering, clapping. They're so excited to see her. If Ben Shapiro got on stage, I don't think he would get the same response. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe somebody can show me a clip of him getting on stage somewhere recently and getting a great response. I don't know. I could be completely wrong. I don't think that the general public right now, especially in our space, views Ben Shapiro in a positive light. I don't think that if he got on stage, he would get well received at all. But that's just me. Let me know.
I'm really bad at is being canceled. I am just not good at it. I am not good at it. And here's the thing, I love it. I love the comebacks. Actually was just backstage and found out I'm #1 on Apple Podcasts after they tried. I mean, it's one thing to try to cancel Candace. It's another thing to try to cancel Jesus Christ. That was like unforced error. But let me tell you something, America. It does feel so good to go everywhere in the world and to realize that there's awakening, not just happening here. Let me tell you guys, it's happening all across the globe. People are starting to ask the hard questions. And you know you start getting close when they start to call you names. They instantly want to suggest that there's something wrong and there's something backwards about being America first. You're starting to hear the way they're framing that now. When you say you're...
You know, I say this all the time. I was saying it on a live stream yesterday. I say this on my... I have coaching calls where I coach people on how to grow YouTube channels and stuff. If you don't know, that's like my main job is I'm a YouTube strategist, basically. I help a lot of probably your favorite YouTubers get to where they are right now. And I say this all the time because people always ask me like, how do you react whenever you get all these hate comments calling you all these names and stuff like that? And what I always say, and I'll bring this back to Candace in just 1 second, is if you get called a liar and you feel it like it hurts you, like it hits you deep, it hits you in the heart, you can feel it, you probably are somewhat of a liar. Like you're not going to feel a certain way if someone calls you a liar unless you've been lying a lot. If someone calls you a scammer, unless you've been scamming people or you have plans on scamming someone, you're not going to care. You know, if somebody calls me a scammer, I don't care because I know what I've done, you know? I know what I do for people and stuff like that. It doesn't matter. If somebody says Christ is king and people feel that and it hurts them and it threatens them, then that, number one, means that it's probably true. Like they believe that it's probably true. Christ is king and they don't like that. And number two, their beliefs are not so set in stone. Their beliefs are fragile. It's very obvious because Candace Owens simply tweeting out Christ as king threatened so many people's beliefs to the point where they tried to cancel her. They did kind of cancel her. I mean, she's still successful, but they fired her from the Daily Wire because she was saying Christ is king and she wouldn't back down from that stance. What does that say? Well, if you get called a liar and it hurts you, that means you probably are a liar. If somebody says Christ is king and it hurts you and it threatens your beliefs, it's probably true. Christ is probably king. You know, that's just how I like to look at these things.
America first. They'll ask you, what do you mean you're America first? Do you mean that you're an isolationist? Do you believe that we shouldn't have did what we did during World War II? All of these things trying to pollute it. It's not that difficult. America first. First name America, last name first. We put this country's interests before the interests of foreign countries overseas. All of them. I don't care. And suddenly...
You see all these people cheering in the audience? I would like to believe that they're cheering for the right reasons, but a lot of people say that they're America first. And it's not just the Daily Wire. It's not just people like Dave Rubin and these people who who contradict themselves, are very hypocritical. It's a ton of people who I used to respect who don't even create content. You know, people who I've just interacted with over the years on different YouTube channels and going on different live streams and form relationships with people who I respect their opinion or used to. And, you know, they always say that they're America first. And for every other issue, they have always stood by that. And they've always been America first. And yet when it comes to this Middle East stuff, they throw all of that out the window. For why, I don't understand. But people seem to get so emotional about this specific war. This specific war in the Middle East has nothing to do with us, just as much as the Ukraine and Russia war should have nothing to do with us. Obviously, we're inserting ourselves in both of these wars, but they both of them should have nothing to do with us, and they shouldn't really hold much real estate inside of your head outside of the fact that we shouldn't be involved, if that makes sense. The only reason why I care about these wars is because, number one, the American people are so emotional about it, and it clouds their judgment so much, and they feel so strongly about taking sides in a war that we should have nothing to do with. And number two, it's a war that we should have nothing to do with, and yet Candace Owens is going to talk about this in 1 second here. A ton of our tax dollars are being sent over there in both of these wars. That's the only reason why I care. My only stance on it isn't, oh, this country should win, this country should win, this one's wrong, this one's right. No, I just think that we should get the hell out of there and stop wasting money on these countries that mean nothing, that should mean nothing to us. Straight up. Like that's my stance. And I would like to think that all these people in the crowd cheering for Candace think the same way. The reality is probably, I mean, at least on the low end, 30% of them would fold when it comes to the Middle East question. Yes, they're America first in every other situation, but when it comes to Ben Shapiro's favorite country, that's when they no longer are America first. For some reason, the brainwashing is just so deep. It doesn't make sense to me.
We're living in a country where we have presidential candidates that get on stage and they're not comfortable with that, right? We're seeing people get on stage left and right and they're not comfortable with the idea of not mining taxpayer dollars and sending them overseas into some black budget so that the state can come back to us and say, we actually have no idea where all the billions went, but good luck feeding your family, right? They're not comfortable. They question you. I had to shut down Piers Morgan a couple of days ago as he was...
If you enjoy content like this, and make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. It really does help me out a ton. Let's get back to the video.
And they always frame it, like I said, it's just a game of name calling, right? You're isolationist. What was his thing? Oh, well, if you don't support Zelensky, then it must mean you support Putin. You must be a Putin puppet if you don't want to send your billions of dollars, your billions of taxpaying dollars to a corrupted oligarch in Ukraine, because that's exactly what he is. They try to make it seem like there's something wrong with not wanting to fight endless wars. For realizing you wake up and you go, we're fighting all these wars, and our borders are porous. We're defending Zelensky's borders, and we can't defend our own. Are you kidding me?
That's what these people can't grasp. They can't wrap their head around it. It's not that, oh, you don't want us to support Ukraine? You must be a Putin supporter. You must want Russia to conquer the world. It's like, no, I just don't want us. The statement stops where you stopped it. I just don't want us to support Ukraine. I just don't want our dollars to be going in that direction. It should be staying here until we are a utopia, you know? And that's obviously never going to happen. So therefore, it should just stay here permanently. And I don't want Russia to win. I don't want Ukraine to win. I don't care who wins. I don't. And the same thing goes for the Middle East and all these other wars. I don't care who wins. It's nothing to do with us. Until it becomes something to do with us, until it does affect us directly, then our money should stay here. That's what Candace Owens' thoughts are as well. This shouldn't be that complicated, but yet they always want to make it that complicated. Where they always think there's some underlying, like, real reasoning behind the scenes why we don't want to fund these certain countries. It's like, no, it's not that we don't want to fund that specific country or that specific country. It's that we want to fund this specific country. And as in the United States of America, we want to fund that country, and we shouldn't be funding anything else until the major issues that are happening within the U.S. are solved. It's that simple.
You're going to suggest that there is something wrong with the idea that we want to put our citizens first? And it would be one thing. It would be one thing if we sent our boys overseas and they came back and they were treated well. Look at the way they treat our veterans. Look at the way they treat our veterans. Look at the VA. It's a disaster. You mean to tell me that our veterans get 1 day and the LGBTQLM never-ending alphabet community gets an entire month? Really comprehend how disrespectful that is. Really comprehend what it really means when these journalists come at you and they ask you why you don't worship the LGBTQIA never-ending dyslexic agenda. That's why I'm getting dyslexia. With this alphabet soup community. Everybody's got a problem. Everybody has a feeling. I'm non-binary. I'm a fish today, you know. And that's
basically it when it comes to Candace Owens addressing all of the drama. I thought it was a great speech. Let me know in the comments. How do you feel about Candace Owens' speech here? Obviously, she went after Ben Shapiro, the Daily Wire, and the neocons whenever she talked about the World War II thing and funding other countries because they love to have us waste our money on foreign entities, especially one foreign country in particular. Let me know in the comments what you're thinking about this speech here and the reactions from the crowd, all that stuff from Candace Owens. What are you thinking about this whole Candace Owens versus Daily Wire situation?